See that right here? Today is 7/2/2016. And right here is our national deficit by president, starting with FDR, which is nicknamed as the worst president ever as far as our economy goes. But he had World War II in there, so what happened is he came in at, well, actually, he came in at lower than this, $22.5 billion. It was lower than that because that's the first year. That was after the first year. FDR was in presidency in 1933, but that was after the first year, and that's what he came in at, less than that. But this is what he left for the next president: $201 billion. He came in at under 22.5 billion. So he came in less than that. But after the first year, that's what it was, 22.5 billion. Then, when he left in 1944, which he died in presidency, so I can't say he really just left. He died in presidency, but he left $201 billion. And guess what? Guess what president was $1 trillion? Well, it wasn't Harry S. Truman. See, that's figures for Harry S. Truman. 258 and 259. He left at 259 billion. Came in at actually came in at 201 billion. And after the first year, he already had it up to 258 billion. And he left it at 259 billion. So that's Harry S. Truman. And then Dwight Eisenhower. This is the date he served presidency, and this right here is the 266 billion to 286 billion. Dwight, see, he came in at 259 billion. That's after the first year, 266 billion. And then by the time when he left, our country, the United States of America, owed $286 billion. This is always in billion until we get to guess what president. You'll be shocked when I show you. JFK, John F. Kennedy, came in at in the year 1961. He came in at 286 billion. First year, he had it up to 288 billion, and then when he left, shot in the back of the ear or head, he was assassinated. JFK was. And 1963, we owed $305 billion. Don't look that bad, does it? Just wait. Lyndon Johnson came in 1964 at 305 billion. Then he left 1968. He left. What he did is he left the country $347 billion in debt. See, these are always going more and more and more in debt. Richard Nixon, yeah, came in at 1969 at 347 billion. And it was 353 at the end of the first year. And then when he left, or he quit, he resigned. President Nixon resigned. I saw it on TV in 1973. Well, when he left, it was he did make 100 billion more in debt. Because when he left, it was 458 billion. Now he left it to Gerald Ford as vice president, and that was the first year he was in. So Gerald Ford, Nixon left Gerald Ford $458 billion. By the time he was in 1 year, Gerald Ford was in 1 year, it was $475 billion. Then when he left in 1976, he left the presidency at the end of the term. He left America $620 billion. Jeez, that's what? That's about what, 150 billion, somewhere near there. And then Jimmy Carter, Gerald Ford left Jimmy Carter $620 billion. First year, $698 billion. And then when Jimmy Carter left presidency in 1980, he left the next president, and guess who it was? Ronald Reagan. He left Ronald Reagan $970 billion. At the first year of Ronald Reagan's term, at the first year, we owed $997 billion. Guess what? We're getting to $1 trillion, aren't we? Yep, that's right. Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan is the one who got us above $2 trillion. And he went in at almost $1 trillion. But that's where the economy really goes to hell, when Ronald Reagan got in. Because look at this. He goes in at $970 billion, and after the first year, it's $997 billion. Then it goes to $2.6 trillion by the time Ronald Reagan's done with presidency, the end of his term. And people are saying this is the best president ever, Ronald Reagan. When you're talking economy, I don't think so. Look at that. He almost tripled the economy. And Ronald Reagan needs $2.6 trillion for the first Bush, which is for George H.W. Bush. He left $2.6 trillion. Okay? He picks it up and goes with it for a year, and now it's $2.8 trillion. And he takes $2.8 trillion and goes to $4 trillion. See, it's a madhouse. Once Ronald Reagan hit presidency, it's a madhouse as far as our economy goes. I'm showing you actual figures here. I don't make these figures up. Okay, that's George H.W. Bush. See, that's only. See, so if that was 2, okay, if that was 0.2, that would be 3. So that's only. Yeah, so that's only $1.2 trillion. That's all he made it. So he was actually a good, according to these figures, George H.W. Bush did not do that bad. He was pretty good, actually, because he only left $1.2 trillion more in debt. The United States. He only left the United States $1.2 trillion more in debt. So George H.W. Bush, he did the economy pretty good. Then, when he gets into Clinton, see this? He goes in at 4. Clinton takes a deficit of $4 trillion in the first year in presidency. He made it $4.4 trillion. That ain't that bad. But look at this. Clinton leaves the United States at $5.6 trillion. That's worse than Bush. See, because it's, what, 6? And, okay, so that'd make it $1 trillion, so that'd be 5. So that's, actually, it's the same. It's the same because, see, you got 0.6 there to make that 5, then you got 6, so that's 1.2 trillion. They did the same. Bush, that's where I got them. Okay. George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton were the same. They left the same amount of deficit. Actually, let's see, 4. Came in at 4. Yeah, so that's where it is. See, George H.W. Bush came in at 2.6 trillion because of Ronald Reagan. 2.6 trillion. And that's what he left George H.W. Bush. So he went from, that's what okay, they're not the same. They're 2.6 to 4, so that's 4, 2, oh man, wait a minute. That's 0.4, make that 3. So that'd be 1.4, that'd be $1 trillion is what, yes, because that's 4, and 1.4 trillion is what George H.W. Bush added to the deficit, 1.4 trillion. Now Clinton came in at 4 trillion and left at 5.6. So that's 0.2 trillion less that Bush did. So because Clinton added from 4 trillion to 5.6 trillion, so that's $1.6 trillion more. And Bush was only 1.4 trillion, so Bush did better. George H.W. Bush Sr., the senior guy of Bush, did better than Clinton. So where did Clinton really stabilize our economy at? That's what I'm asking. Where? He didn't. That's a big fat lie. It's just another Clinton lie. And I'll watch my next video about Hillary Clinton. I'm going to refer to Hillary Clinton as HRC because it's Hillary Rodham Clinton because we're using her middle name. So it's HRC is who I'm going to refer Hillary Clinton to in my next video because she's the most evil person who's HRC is the most evil person ever to run for any government official, and everything she touched in any government office went to hell. So there ain't no one stupid enough to vote for Hillary. They vote for Billary with a B, Billary. That's who they're voting for, Billary, because they're counting on Bill Clinton to stabilize our economy, and he can't. It's proven right here. He cannot stabilize our economy. There ain't no way. Then when Bush hit office, man, after the second Bush, George W. Bush, he went from Bill Clinton, when he got out of office or left office, and he is the second president. Bill Clinton is the second president to be fully impeached by the Senate. First one was Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson was impeached for violating the Tenure Act. Tenure Act is where our Constitution makes it so that you have to get rid of any government person underneath you in a certain way, by giving them time, by giving them paperwork, and telling them to leave office that way. Andrew Johnson is the first president to be impeached. Look it up. It's in our history book. Bill Clinton is the second president to be impeached. Look it up. It's in our history book. Bill Clinton was fully impeached on 2 counts. The Lewinsky case, and they said that was improper conduct in the White House, and lying under oath, like Clinton always does. Both Clintons, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, have both lied under oath. They don't care what the Bible. They don't follow the Bible at all. They're cokeheads, and they were dealing coke before they even got in office, and they just did even massive amount once they got in office. Once Bill was governor of Arkansas. Once Bill was, they just ran with it. He was a cokehead way back, but you can verify that by seeing some of Bill Clinton's not Bill Clinton's videos, but YouTube videos about Bill Clinton and the Clintons. Period. Bill Clinton and Hillary, they are cokeheads, and they're pedophiles. Bill Clinton has slept with many women under 18, and probably men, but they don't state that. But and same with Hillary. She slept with women. She's a lesbian. But and anyway, let's get back to this. Okay, Bill Clinton left $5.6 trillion at the end of his term. So George W. Bush made it to $5.8 trillion at the end of his, or at the beginning, after the first year he was in president. So he went $0.2 trillion, went up. And look at that, look at that. Look at that. $10 trillion. 2008, we were owing $10 trillion in our United States deficit. 10 trillion. It's almost double. Not quite though, because it's going from 5.6. Not the 8, because that's after a year. But 5.6. It's going from 5.6 to $10 trillion. Not quite doubling it. Look at this. Obama takes over $10 trillion from George W. Bush. Now Obama gets in. It seems to me that, like, I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, but it seems to me that whenever a Democrat gets in there, our deficit doubles. I mean, it doubles. Because it's going from 10 trillion, which Bush handed to Obama, 10 trillion, right there. That's what it's going to be over that. It's said to be it's going to be around 21 trillion by the time Obama gets out of office. And Obama's going to be known for that, being the worst president ever for the economy. And Obama's going to be known for the most executive orders, because he's running the country by himself, because he cannot unite Democrats and Republicans. He cannot, in the White House, he cannot do that. He's running the country by himself. He's writing executive order after executive order, which will all be deleted once Donald Trump gets in office. He's already said it. The executive orders will no longer hold, and that's what's wrong with an executive order, because once it's an executive order, it can be wiped out with the next president, and that's exactly what's going to happen. That's why we need Trump in there, and we need Trump in there now. We need to get Obama. We need to fire him. We need to fire Obama. He's the worst president we ever had. And right here are some figures to prove it. This is the worst economy ever. Went from 10 trillion, George W. Bush, $10 trillion, to Obama at the end of his term, $20 trillion, probably 21, more like 21 trillion by the time his term ends. So I'm gonna pause for a second here and just try to hold it steady here. So all you have to do is pause the video and check these figures for yourself, and then find these figures right on the internet where I found these, where I wrote these down from. That's it. Today's 7/2/2016. And that's what I have to say about our economy from president to president. And each one of these are when the first year, this is the first year of George W. Bush. After the first year, he went from 5.6 to $5.8 trillion. And then at the end of his term, when he left office, he left 10 trillion to, guess who? Obama. And by this chart, there is no way in hell President Reagan was the best president for our economy. There's no way. Look at that, 997 trillion after first year in office of Ronald Reagan, when he took over 970 billion. He left office at 2.6 trillion. So there's 2 trillion. That's about what? What is that? That's got to be pretty close to $3 trillion. What he left. That's a lot. That's crazy. That's a crazy amount. But then it gets crazier when George. Let's see. No, not George, but that wasn't that great. And Clinton definitely wasn't that great. He was worse than the Bush before him, man. He was worse. I already showed you that. Not that much worse, but he was worse. So if you wanted someone to stabilize the economy, and you're going by last name here, Jeb would have been your man, but he's too low energy, according to Donald Trump. But I say vote for Donald Trump because we need to save America. If we don't, America probably won't be America anymore. We'd end up filing bankruptcy, and we'd be a countrywide bankruptcy, and that ain't gonna be pretty. I want someone who knows about bankruptcy because Trump's done it 4 times. Every time Trump has done it, he's made money on it. You gotta be able to know when to hold them and when to fold them. Just like in any poker game, you gotta know when to hold them and when to fold them. That's why Trump did what he did on 4 of his businesses out of hundreds of businesses, which ain't bad. That's a hell of a record what Trump has. He's proven, and he's the backbone of our government, and he has been since 1970 or around there. He's sponsored almost everybody who ever ran for president. He knows the government inside and out. He's an Ivy League person, which is above Yale and Harvard. It's above them. There is no reason not to vote for Trump. Trump is our man, and that's the only reason why I voted, because Trump running. Trump said he was going to run. As soon as he said that, and I listened to a few of his videos, he confirmed what I thought about Trump, and that's it. Done deal. Trump should be the next president, and he's the only one that I want on the nuclear button, because he's got a lot at stake. He's got his gravy life. He's worth $12 billion. He's got a jet, which is worth more than the president's jet. He's got a $35 million helicopter. He's got 7 high-rise. He's got 7 high-rises in New York City, plus a lot of other property, plus 16 professional golf courses. Come on. Well, what does this guy got to do to get your vote? Wow, man, Trump is a wow dude. There's 5 people I want to meet, and 2 of them are dead. I want to meet Bruce Lee, because he's the top of the top. He never lost a fight, never. And he had a punch of a 300-pound person, and he had the speed, he had the power, he had everything needed. He's only around 140 pounds. He could win anybody. Okay, that's Bruce Lee. Okay, then Michael Jackson. He's a superstar of all superstars of rock and roll. That's 2. So it's Bruce Lee, Michael Jackson, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's been 7-time Mr. Olympia. He was the highest paid actor in Hollywood. Not to mention many other things. I like all his movies, but oh yeah, he was governor of the most richest state in the Union, California. They loved him. The ideal ticket for presidency would be Donald Trump as president or Arnold Schwarzenegger, and vice versa. I would like to see Donald Trump as president and Arnold Schwarzenegger as vice president, because he can't become president because of the stupid ass law that we have in our Constitution. You have to be born here, which is an outdated law since the first day it was amended, or not amended, but put in our Constitution. That's part of the original Constitution. But it was outdated then. It's outdated now. But along with that thing where you can only run 2 terms or 10 years, you can either run 10. You can run 2 terms or up to 10 years. So if the president dies and the vice president takes over, say he goes in 2 years, he does 2 years, then he's voted in twice. You can do that because you can. That's why it's 10 years, not 8. But that should be abolished out of our Constitution, along with having to be born here and run for president. Those 2 should be kicked out of the United States Constitution, because they're outdated, and they really should have never been put in there, because I don't want to make this video too long, so I won't explain why. But okay, so that's Bruce Lee, Michael Jackson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the fourth one, well, Trump. That's four. Trump. I want to meet Trump because he's so successful. It ain't funny. He's a superstar because he's an independent, not a company man. You know, where you have other people deciding things. Trump is the deciding person on everything he does. It's not corporating, where he's got to worry about other people saying yes or no. It's Trump. Bottom line is, it's Trump. He says yes or no. No one else does. But those four people, those so it's Bruce Lee, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Jackson, and Donald Trump. And I don't care if he's president or not, because he's so successful, and he has 16 books that he wrote, which with The Art of the Deal, that was the most success. The Art of the Deal was Times bestseller for almost 1 year. It lacked one more week to being 1 whole year of Times bestseller. The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump. That's why they say that book is so great. The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump ran 1 whole year, lacked 1 week from being 1 whole year as Times best-selling book ever. One week from being 1 whole year as Times bestseller ever. The Art of the Deal by Donald Trump. So my next video will be about Hillary Clinton and why she's going to be indicted, and when she's going to be indicted, and why she's possibly going to do 20 years in prison, and she'll never make the ballot. Hillary Clinton will never make the ballot. And that kind of ends this video. So I'm going to go on to the next video and see you then. But just pause this video if you want to see all this information that I wrote down, and check it out for yourself. And it's all on the internet. That's where I got it. I don't make these figures up. 7/2/2016.